The next fight up on the main card is in the UFC's featherweight division. You have a battle between the former Ultimate Fighter winner and Mike the Lone Wolf Trizano, who comes into this fight with a record of 9 victories and 2 defeats, going up against UFC newcomer in Lucas Almeida, who comes into this fight with an outstanding professional record of 13 victories and 1 defeat. Now, this fight, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time when it comes to the breakdown. I'm really not. Let's talk about the fight odds really quick. You've got, Mike Trizano as a minus 230 favorite to Lucas Almeida coming back as a plus 195 underdog. There's some sites that have Trizano as high as like a minus 270 to a plus 195 for Lucas Almeida. The thing with Lucas Almeida is he is a UFC newcomer. I believe this is his first fight under the UFC banner. We'll find out really quick. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So he had a fight on the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series back in September of 2021. He lost to Daniel Zellhuber via unanimous decision. And then after that, he had a fight against Italo Trindade at Jungle Fight 103. He won that fight in the first round via KO, I believe. He's got another knockout in the third round over Nicholas Cocusio, I think. Yeah, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But in that fight against Cocusio, he actually landed a switch flying knee to the chin of Nicholas, dropped him, and got the KO. It was a beautiful KO. A switch flying knee up against the cage, dropped him, knocked him out cold in the third round. In a very close, I believe the fight was very close leading up to it. I had watched that fight in the breakdown of this fight. Now, Michael Trizano, he's been pretty solid throughout his UFC career. 9-2 overall as a professional MMA fighter. But he's got, in his last fight, he lost to Hakeem Dawodu at UFC Fight Night Hermansson versus Strickland via unanimous decision. Close fight, but overall, I think it was pretty clear-cut. At least 2 rounds to 1 for Hakeem Dawodu. I believe that Trizano definitely got 1 round. I think the second round probably is the round that they should have given to Trizano. So it says unanimous decision, but I feel like it shouldn't have been 3 rounds to 0. It should have at least been 2 rounds to 1. I think it was clear that Hakeem probably did enough to win, but the longer the fight went, the more success that Trizano had. Prior to that, he had a decision victory over Ludovic Klein at UFC on ESPN 24, Rodriguez versus Waterson in May of 2021. That was a fight that I think a lot of people thought Klein was going to walk through Trizano. I think that Klein was on a very high trajectory. He had a lot of hype behind him, and Trizano kind of shut that down. Prior to that, he lost via second round rear naked choke to Grant Dawson. I believe it's KGD Dawson or something like that. And he lost that fight, just got out wrestled, out grappled, out worked. Before that, he got a split decision victory over Luis Pena, who was another one of his rivals on The Ultimate Fighter. And then he won the Ultimate Fighter finale over Joe Giannetti via split decision in the third round in July of 2018. So he had a fight, 2 fights in 2018, 1 fight in 2019, and then came back almost 2 years later, got a decision victory over Ludovic Klein, and then came back a little less than a year later against Hakeem Dawodu. So he seems to be fighting like once a year, maybe twice if he can get it in. But Trizano is a great fighter. He's very technical and tactical, and I think his technical ability is something that's going to carry him very far in this fight against Lucas Almeida. You hear me talk a lot about the technical fighters having the edge, and it's not always the case. There's always the case that brawler or wild striker can, smother the technical fighter and catch him with a good shot, or just smother him and outwork him and never give him a chance to breathe or set their shots up. Lucas Almeida, I watched his fight. That flying knee KO, that was a great KO, beautiful knockout. He's got good body kicks, good 1-2s, but he seems to be pretty wild and loopy with the punches that he throws. He seems to throw a lot of overhands, a lot of wide hooks. Some of his kicks look okay, but he doesn't really impress me anywhere when it comes to mixed martial arts. I don't see him being better anywhere than Mike Trizano. I think Michael Trizano is better everywhere the fight could possibly take place. I think he's better in the clinch. I think he's better from a distance. I think he's definitely better from the boxing range. He works very well behind a good jab. Trizano has a great jab, good pivots, good angles, and he's a very technical fighter. He's very intelligent. I think that's something that people kind of underestimate about Trizano. He's a very intelligent fighter. He knows when to pick it up. He knows when his shots are going to land. He's got good defense to get out of the way of the counters of his opponents. Very good footwork, good movement. Very slight short steps when it comes to his footwork, just slightly out of the way and then back into range. The only thing that I think a lot of people have to knock on Mike Trizano is the fact that he doesn't throw a lot of volume. It's usually 1 or 2 strikes. When it goes to 3, 4, 5, that's when he tends to get overwhelmed. But that's also something that I think if he goes 3, 4, 5 punch combos, he can have more success because his striking is clean. It is crisp. He's got a very good right hand, a good jab, very good left hook. He landed it on Hakeem Dawodu. Every time he landed the left hook on Dawodu, it was hurting him. Every time he landed it, Hakeem would try to clinch up, push him up against the cage, and use his size and strength to kind of negate or slow down Trizano. But every time that left hook landed, it was trouble. And I think it's going to be the same thing here against Lucas Almeida. I think Almeida's a good striker. He's got good jiu-jitsu. But I think Trizano, like I said, is just the overall better guy. I think the left hook from Trizano is going to be money against a guy like Lucas Almeida, especially in somebody who loops his punches or kind of overextends. I think that left hook's going to be there all day. I think we're going to see Trizano stick behind the jab, use a lot of fakes and feints, land that front kick up the middle, chop the low kicks, and just cruise his way to a veteran-style unanimous decision. I could see him potentially getting a finish late in the second, maybe in the third round, just from overall volume. And if he senses that Lucas Almeida is hurt, I think he can jump on him and kind of overwhelm him and get the finish. But I'm going to ride with Trizano to win via a pretty dominant, clear-cut unanimous decision. I'm going to go 30-26 unanimous decision for Michael the Lone Wolf Trizano. I just think he's better everywhere. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's better everywhere. He's very technical, a lot more technical than people give him credit for. Clean shots, and that left hook is a thing of beauty. I think that Almeida is trouble. He does have some decent strikes. That flying knee he landed against Cusio was tough. It was beautiful. He's got good kicks, decent Muay Thai, but I don't think he's better anywhere when it comes to the fight against Trizano. So Mike the Lone Wolf Trizano to defeat Lucas Almeida via unanimous decision. If we're looking at betting for this fight, I mean, I told you the odds are pretty crazy. Minus 230 to a plus 195 for Almeida. I think that's pretty accurate. I would definitely price Trizano at a minus 220, minus 230, and come back at like a plus 190 for Lucas Almeida. I think betting Trizano straight up, if he's in a parlay, okay. If it's straight up, I would stay away from it. I think that Trizano to win by decision, you're probably going to get plus money. So maybe you run a decision parlay with Mike Trizano to win via decision and maybe pair him with another fighter we're going to talk about later on in the card. But my overall pick, like I said, is Mike the Lone Wolf Trizano to defeat Lucas Almeida via a 30-26 unanimous decision.